The boy stood barefoot beside the flooded highway, clutching a silver locket and begging Sheriff Daniel Mercer not to call the man listed as his father. Why would a frightened child know the name of Daniel's dead sister? Why did the county records show that the boy had never been born? And why did the most powerful family in Bellwether suddenly want the child removed before sunrise? Daniel had spent 20 years burying one unbearable mistake. Now a missing boy, a sealed adoption file, and a deputy willing to break every rule were about to tear two families apart and reveal who had been protected all along. Stay until the end, because the truth inside that locket changes everything. At 2:17 a.m., the elevator opened with a tired chime, and Travis Boone entered the hospital corridor carrying a manila folder. "Transfer order," he said, "signed by the county board." Daniel Mercer did not take it. He stood between Travis and room 214, his damp shirt cold against his back. Behind the glass, Noah sat beneath a thin blanket, bare feet tucked under him. Mud had dried along his ankles. Dr. Meera Patel stood beside him. "Who requested it?" Daniel asked. "Commissioner Whitmore. He isn't the boy's guardian. That's not your decision anymore." Daniel looked down. Noah's wet footprints crossed the polished floor and stopped at the locked door, as if the child had reached the last safe place in the building. Meera opened the door a few inches. "He has not been medically cleared." "He has no injuries," Travis said. "That is not the same thing." The elevator chimed again. Caleb Whitmore emerged in a charcoal coat untouched by the rain. At 52, he moved like a man accustomed to rooms becoming quiet for him. "There he is," Caleb said. Inside, Noah slid off the bed. He backed into a cabinet and closed both hands around the silver locket beneath his gown. Caleb stopped at the threshold. "Noah, your family has been worried sick." "No." "Your mother is waiting." "No, she isn't." Travis faced Daniel. "You questioned him without counsel?" "I listened." Caleb extended a hand. "Come on, we're going home." Noah stared at it. His toes curled against the cold tile. Then he looked at Daniel. "She said you'd know, Hannah Mercer." For 1 second, the corridor lost every sound. Rain tapped the narrow window, but Daniel heard only the click of the locket opening in Noah's fist. Caleb's hand dropped. Travis recovered first. "Who told you that name?" Noah pressed the locket to his chest. Daniel gripped the wooden star on his keyring. Hannah Mercer had been 8 months old when an evacuation list declared her dead. 24 years of sealed files and empty birthdays had taught him not to move too quickly toward hope. He crouched, leaving space between them. "Noah, where did you hear it?" The boy looked past him at Caleb. "That's what Mom was called before he changed it." Meera drew a sharp breath. Caleb stepped forward. "He's confused." Noah struck the cabinet while trying to move away. The locket slipped, swinging open. A tiny photograph flashed. Daniel saw a woman's left eyebrow, the faint crescent scar above it, and the shape of a smile he knew from the only baby picture in his wallet. Travis seized his arm. "You're done. Let go. You are emotionally compromised. Seal this floor. Call State Child Protection. No one removes him." Caleb's voice hardened. "You don't have that authority." "I do until a lawful guardian is verified." Travis released him and lifted his radio. "Effective immediately, Sheriff Mercer is removed from this case pending review." 2 nurses watched from the supply alcove. One lowered her eyes. "Daniel," Travis said, "surrender your access card." Behind the glass, Noah bent for the locket. His wet footprints ended at the locked door, but a fresh drop of water appeared beyond them. It had fallen from Caleb Whitmore's sleeve. 12 hours earlier, Daniel eased his patrol SUV around a barricade at 2:06 p.m., tires hissing through brown water on County Road 9. "Sheriff, Miller Farm says the creek's in their kitchen," Linda Shaw said over the radio. "Tell them I'm 5 minutes out." "You said that 10 minutes ago?" "I was 5 minutes from 3 other places." He found Mr. Miller on a porch step, holding 2 soaked hens, while his wife dragged photo albums into plastic tubs. Daniel carried the albums first. By 3, rain rattled the patrol car roof like gravel. Daniel spread his wet coat across the passenger seat and turned the heater toward his boots. "Road crew found an abandoned sedan near Bellwether Junction," Linda said. "No driver, water over the rear bumper. Any missing child calls?" "None." He passed the junction once before he saw movement beneath the collapsed bus shelter. A small figure stood behind fogged glass. Daniel stopped 20 feet away and killed the engine. The ticking hazard sounded enormous. The boy wore a gray sweatshirt darkened by water. No shoes, 1 sock. His hair clung to his forehead, and both hands were locked around something silver. Daniel stepped into ankle-deep runoff. "I'm Daniel." The boy watched the badge, not his face. "I'm not going with him." "With who?" No answer. Daniel kept his hands visible. "Are you hurt?" The boy shook his head, then winced when his bare heel touched gravel. "Can I look at your foot?" "No." "All right." A truck pushed through the flooded lane, throwing water against the shelter. The boy flinched. Daniel shifted between him and the road. "I have a warm car," he said. "You can sit in the back with the door open." "You'll call him." "I'll call whoever you tell me is safe." "That's not the same." "No," Daniel said. "It isn't." The object in the boy's hands was an oval silver locket, chain wound around his wrist. Daniel set a wool blanket on the bench instead of offering it directly. Rain struck the metal roof with a hollow ping. "What's your name?" "Noah." "All right, Noah. First I listen, then I make calls. Nobody takes you anywhere before that." "Even if they're important?" "Especially then." Noah looked toward the empty road. His lips had gone pale. Daniel opened the rear door, switched off the child locks, and placed a towel on the seat. For several seconds, only rain moved. Then came the slap of one bare foot, the scrape of the socked one, and a quick breath behind him. Noah climbed inside without releasing the locket. Daniel shut the door gently and sat behind the wheel. He waited until the boy had wrapped the blanket around his shoulders. "He'd okay?" A nod. Water fell from Noah's sleeves onto the rubber mat, each drop landing in time with the amber flash of the hazards. Linda called again. "You find something?" Daniel watched Noah in the mirror. The boy had turned the locket inward, hiding its face against his chest. "I found a child," Daniel said. Noah lifted his eyes. "You promised you'd listen first." Daniel took his hand off the radio. "I did, so start wherever you need to." Outside, the flooded sedan's horn began sounding by itself in the rising water. At 3:41 p.m., the station doors opened on a gust of wet air, and Noah stopped inside. The building smelled of burnt coffee, damp uniforms, and lemon cleaner. Fluorescent tubes hummed overhead. Daniel hung his dripping coat away from the boy. "You can keep the blanket." Noah stayed close to the wall. Travis Boone looked up from the duty desk. He was 41, broad-shouldered and clean-shaven, with a habit of clicking his pen against his thumbnail when interrupted. "This him?" "This is Noah." Travis gave the boy a practiced smile. "Last name?" Noah tightened his grip on the locket. "Cole?" Linda typed it into the county system. "Date of birth?" "April 9th. "What year?" Noah looked at Daniel. "He's 8, Daniel said. I need the year." 2017. The keyboard clattered, then stopped. Linda leaned toward the screen. The cursor blinked beneath "No records found." "Try statewide," Daniel said. "I did." "School enrollment." "Nothing." Travis clicked his pen. "Flood took out half the county servers." "State records aren't on our server," Linda said. "Then someone entered the name wrong." "Noah," Daniel said. "Is Cole your mother's last name?" "It's what she told me to say." The radio hissed softly. Water ticked from Daniel's coat into a metal bin. Travis stood. "We call child services. Place him overnight and sort it tomorrow." "No," Noah said. "It's temporary." "No." Daniel pulled a chair away from the desk so the boy would not feel cornered. "Who are you afraid they'll call?" Noah rubbed one bare heel against the other. "The man with the White House." "Name?" Travis sighed. "Sheriff, he's exhausted. You're leading him." Daniel turned the chair handle toward Noah and waited. "Mr. Whitmore," the boy whispered. Travis's pen stopped clicking. Linda searched again. "Caleb Whitmore is on the county commission." "I know who he is," Daniel said. At 4:02, Jenna Reed arrived from Family Services carrying a canvas bag and 2 paper cups. She was 34, with copper-framed glasses and a strand of dark hair she kept tucking behind one ear. "I brought socks," she said, kneeling several feet away. "And hot chocolate. Neither requires paperwork." Noah accepted the socks first. While Jenna asked simple questions, Daniel placed the locket on a clean evidence cloth. He did not touch the clasp until Noah nodded. Inside was a photograph no larger than his thumbnail. A young woman turned partly from the camera, faded at the edges. On the inner rim, beneath a scratch, 2 letters had been engraved. H.M. Daniel's thumb went numb against the table. Jenna noticed. "You recognize them?" "They could mean anything." Travis watched him. "Then don't make them mean something." Daniel closed the locket and slid it back. His hand stayed flat on the desk for 1 second too long. "Did your mother give you this?" "Yes." "What's her name?" Noah looked at the blank monitor, where the cursor still blinked. "She said her name used to be Hannah." The station phone rang, sharp enough to make Noah spill a drop of chocolate. Linda answered, listened, then covered the receiver. "It's Commissioner Whitmore," she said. "He says he's coming for the boy." The front doors opened at 4:19 p.m., and Caleb Whitmore walked in without shaking a drop of rain from his coat. Mud streaked the station floor from farmers, road crews, and deputies who had been moving between flooded roads all day. Caleb's dark shoes left 2 clean, dry prints near the entrance. "There you are," he said. Noah stopped drinking. The paper cup bent in his hands. Caleb crossed the room with practiced concern. "You frightened everyone." Daniel remained beside the desk. "How did you know he was here?" Caleb glanced at Travis. "People call me when something happens in this county." "The public notice hasn't gone out." "Then someone showed initiative." Travis clicked his pen once. Jenna heard it and looked toward him. Caleb crouched, though not low enough to meet Noah's eyes. "Your mother is waiting at home." "No, she isn't." "She's upset. You know how she gets." Noah's shoulders drew inward. Daniel said, "What does that mean?" "A private family matter. It became mine when an 8-year-old turned up barefoot beside floodwater." Caleb straightened. His coat smelled faintly of cedar among wet wool and burnt coffee. "My niece has struggled since the boy was born. She becomes confused, leaves without warning, invents dangers." Jenna opened her folder. "I'll need her full legal name and proof of guardianship." "Hannah Cole. Council will send it." Before or after you take him?" Caleb's smile thinned. "You must be Ms. Reed. You called my supervisor 12 minutes ago." "I asked that procedure be followed." Noah slid off the chair and moved behind Daniel. The locket chain flashed between his fingers. Caleb saw it. "Give me that, Noah." The boy hid both hands behind his back. Daniel shifted half a step, enough to close the line between them. "It belongs to him. It belongs to our family. Then you can describe what's inside." For the first time, Caleb did not answer immediately. Rainwater rattled through the gutter outside. Linda stopped typing. Travis stepped closer. "Sheriff, we can verify property later." "Noah," Caleb said, ignoring him, "your mother will blame herself if you make this harder." The boy's lower lip trembled, but his voice stayed small and clear. "She told me not to let you touch it." Jenna's pen froze over the form. Caleb rose slowly. "Children repeat things they don't understand." "Then help us understand," Daniel said. "Where was it found?" "Near the highway, I assume." "Which highway?" Caleb's jaw moved once. "Daniel, don't turn this into theater." "You arrived before we identified him." A deputy entered carrying sandbags and stopped. 2 volunteers behind him fell quiet. No one spoke. Caleb looked at each of them before returning to Daniel. "My family has supported this department for years." "This department isn't a family favor." Travis clicked the pen again. "Faster now." The station phone rang. Linda answered, listened, and handed the receiver to Daniel. "It's the hospital," she said. "They found an abandoned car registered to Hannah Cole." Daniel kept his eyes on Caleb. "Where?" Linda covered the mouthpiece. "Bellwether Junction." Noah pressed his back against Daniel's coat. Caleb's shoes remained perfectly dry. At 4:27 p.m., Daniel turned the station monitor toward Linda. "Pull every traffic camera between Bellwether Junction and the River Road." Travis stepped in front of the desk. "On what authority?" "An abandoned vehicle tied to a missing mother and a child with no records. Flood protocol doesn't give you unlimited access." "Then write down that you objected." Travis did not. Linda opened the county feed. Fluorescent lights hummed. Noah sat beside Jenna, wrapped in the wool blanket, watching the screen. Camera 12 showed only rain. Camera 13 froze, then loaded. A dark sedan appeared at 1:18 p.m. and stopped at the shelter. A young woman climbed from the passenger side. Noah shot to his feet. "Mom?" She opened the rear door, pulled him out, and pressed the silver locket into his palm. Daniel saw the urgency in the way she closed his fingers around it. "Enlarge that," Jenna said. Linda zoomed in. Pixels broke across her face, but the pale crescent above her eyebrow remained. Daniel's breath caught. On screen, Hannah knelt and spoke to Noah. Then she glanced toward the driver. An arm reached across the cabin and sounded the horn twice. Caleb shifted near the doorway. "This proves nothing." "It proves she didn't leave him willingly," Jenna said. Hannah kissed Noah's forehead and returned to the passenger seat. The car moved before her door, fully closed. "Who was driving?" Daniel asked. Linda advanced the footage frame by frame. A profile flashed behind the windshield, then vanished. Travis reached across the console. "Stop. This footage is county property." "So is the road," Daniel said. "You're making evidence out of shadows." "I'm preserving it." Linda inserted a drive. A blue bar crawled across the screen. 42%. Noah pressed his hands over his ears. "She told me to wait for the man with the wooden star." Daniel touched the carved keyring in his pocket. "Did she say where she was going?" "She said she had to make him believe I was gone." 76%. Caleb softened his voice. Noah, your mother says frightening things when she's unwell. The boy stared at the floor. You locked her phone in the kitchen drawer. Jenna turned. Is that true? Nonsense. 91%. Travis moved behind Linda. End the transfer. There's an active child welfare inquiry. 99, Jenna whispered. The bar stopped. Travis pulled the cable from the computer. The screen went black. Rain hammered the metal awning. The coffee maker clicked off. Daniel looked at the loose cable in Travis's hand. Plug it back in. I have an order from county administration restricting duplication. Show me. It was verbal. From Caleb? Travis rubbed the frayed rubber near the plug. From the commission. Daniel folded a blank evidence label. Linda, call the state archive. Request the automatic server copy. Travis's jaw tightened. You're not authorized. Then suspend me before it arrives. The station phone rang. Linda answered. Her eyes moved to Noah. The hospital says a woman matching Hannah's description was seen leaving the flooded car, she said. She wasn't alone. Daniel reached for the receiver. Behind him, Caleb quietly opened the station door. The station door struck its stopper before Caleb could leave. Don't, Daniel said. Caleb kept one hand on the handle. Am I under arrest? No. Then choose your words carefully. Linda passed Daniel the receiver. This is Mercer. A nurse spoke through static. A road crew brought in a woman from the junction. Mid-20s, no identification. She refused treatment and left through the east entrance with a man in a gray coat. When? 20 minutes ago. Daniel looked at Caleb's sleeve, dry at the shoulder, dark near the cuff. Did she give a name? She wrote Hannah, then crossed it out. The line died. Noah stood beside Jenna, the blanket trailing on the floor. Is she there? She was, Daniel said. We're going to find her. You said you'd listen. I am. Caleb turned from the door. He needs rest, not interrogation. Dr. Meera Patel arrived at 4:46, carrying a clear medical bag. 38, compact and brisk, she wore rain-speckled glasses and warmed her stethoscope between her palms before touching a patient. I can examine him here, she said. The hospital generator is failing. Travis folded his arms. We're arranging placement. After I clear him. Meera knelt near Noah. May I check your feet? He looked at Daniel. Your choice, Daniel said. Noah nodded. Meera peeled away the wet sock. The room smelled of river mud and antiseptic. As she cleaned a scrape, Noah gripped the wooden star on Daniel's key ring. My mom carved one like this. Daniel crouched across from him. When? She kept it in a box. She said the man who gave it to her would believe me. Believe what? That she didn't leave me. Caleb exhaled sharply. Hannah builds stories. Noah's fingers tightened. You told her nobody would believe her. The volunteers by the door studied their muddy boots. Meera covered his heel with a bandage. Did anyone keep you from school? We did lessons at the river house. Who is we? Mom. Sometimes a lady came. Mr. Whitmore said school asked too many questions. Jenna wrote. Caleb stepped toward her. You're recording a frightened child without counsel. I'm recording his words. You can dispute them later. Noah leaned closer to Daniel. There's a blue room upstairs. Mom kept papers under a loose board. What papers? She said they had her first name. Before Hannah Cole. Travis's pen clicked once. Daniel heard it. Where is the river house? Noah pointed toward the county map behind the desk. His finger hovered over the northern bend. Caleb blocked the map. Enough. Meera rose. He's coming to the hospital for observation. You can't authorize that, Travis said. I can refuse discharge when a child has possible hypothermia, no verified guardian, and signs of coercive control. The heater rattled awake, blowing warm, metallic air across the room. Noah still held Daniel's keyring, tracing the 5 carved points. "My mom said your name once," he whispered. Daniel stayed still. She said, "Daniel Mercer will know why they changed me." Caleb's face emptied. A red emergency lamp blinked once above the evidence room door. Noah's hand closed around the wooden star. Then every light went out. The emergency lights returned at 5:03 p.m., washing the station red. Travis Boone was already beside the breaker panel. "Generator fault," he said. Daniel watched him close the cover. "You moved fast." "I know this building." Noah sat beside Mira, the wooden star trapped in his fist. Jenna had one arm around him. Caleb stood near the map, colorless under the red light. Daniel checked his phone. No signal. "Landline?" Linda lifted the receiver. "Dead." Travis slid his pen into his pocket. "We transfer the boy now." Mira rose. "He goes with me." "County security will escort him." "No," Noah said. The word was small, but everyone heard it. Daniel looked through the wet windows. A county SUV idled beneath the security lamp. "You called them before the power failed," he said. Travis did not answer. At 5:11, Ruth Ellison entered with 2 board members. Silver-haired and usually deliberate, she carried an emergency order inside a plastic sleeve. "Daniel, step away from the child." He read the first line without touching it. "Temporary administrative leave. Effective immediately." "On whose findings?" "Pending review of your conduct." "What conduct?" "Unauthorized access, obstruction of family reunification, and emotional conflict." Jenna stared at her. "You signed this without interviewing him?" Ruth rubbed the sleeve's edge. "I was given legal assurances." "By Caleb?" Daniel asked. Caleb's voice hardened. "This is not a courtroom." "No, in a courtroom, records matter." Travis extended his hand. "Badge and access card." Only rain moved against the gutter. Daniel unpinned the badge. The metal had warmed against his shirt. He placed it face down beside an untouched cup of coffee, its surface gray. A volunteer near the door lowered his eyes. Noah pushed free of Jenna. "He found me." "Stay back," Travis said. Daniel raised one hand toward the boy. "It's all right." "It's not." "No," Daniel said. "But you did nothing wrong." Travis took the access card. "You're no longer authorized to issue instructions." Daniel turned to Jenna. "Federal file Kilo 719, St. Agnes evacuation." Her eyes flicked once. Travis heard it. "What was that?" "A date I don't want to forget." Ruth finally looked at Noah. Mud still marked his ankles beneath the hospital blanket. "Commissioner Whitmore will assume temporary family custody." Mira stepped between them. "He remains my patient." Caleb's jaw tightened. "Doctor?" "Until the hospital accepts him, nobody moves him." The rear elevator chimed as backup power reached the service corridor. Travis gestured toward Daniel. "Escort him out." 2 deputies approached. Neither met his eyes. Daniel took his wet coat from the hook. His fingers missed the sleeve twice before finding it. At the doorway, Noah called his name. Daniel turned. The boy held up the wooden star. "You forgot this." For a moment, Daniel could not move. Jenna crossed the room, took the key ring, and pressed it into his palm. Under the gesture, he folded a scrap of paper into her hand. On it was the archive number tied to the daughter he had buried 24 years ago. Behind them, Caleb said, "Take the boy downstairs." Then a locked vehicle door slammed below the station. The interview room door shut at 5:26 p.m. with a soft hydraulic sigh. Daniel sat at the table without his badge, coat across his knees. Air pressed through his wet shirt. The room had no windows, only a camera dome and a buzzing fluorescent strip. Travis placed a form before him. Unauthorized database access. Interference with a lawful transfer. You forgot the missing mother. This is about you. Daniel turned the paper around. Then write what happened, not what Caleb needs. Travis touched his collar. His fingers could not fasten the top button. You're being held until counsel reviews the complaint. Held or delayed. Call it whatever helps. The lock clicked. At 5:34, Jenna entered carrying Daniel's wallet in a clear property bag. A deputy waited by the door. You have 2 minutes, Travis said. Jenna sat. Mira got Noah to the hospital. Caleb followed. Is he still under observation? For now. The county office called the administrator 3 times. The number I gave you? Kilo 719 is sealed. Ask for the evacuation appendix. They said it doesn't exist. It did when I wrote it. Jenna glanced toward the hall. You wrote it? Daniel opened the wallet. Behind his license was a faded photograph of a baby in a blanket. Condensation dampened the sleeve. When he removed it, the picture stuck to his palm. My daughter. Hannah? She was 8 months old during the St. Agnes evacuation. A flood warning. A failed generator. 43 patients moved. He rubbed the photograph's edge. The list said she died before transfer. But there was no body. No. You kept searching. 7 years officially. Longer without permission. Jenna studied the crescent above the infant's eyebrow. The woman on the road camera had the same scar, Daniel said. The light dimmed, then returned. Why didn't you tell me? Because wanting it to be true is not evidence. Keys scraped the wall outside. Noah knew your name. Caleb knew where he was before the public notice. So either Hannah survived, or someone built a lie around her name. A phone rang in the outer office. Once. Twice. Then silence. Jenna checked her screen. The hospital network just went offline. Daniel stood. The chair legs shrieked across the concrete. Sit down, the deputy said. What time is Noah's transfer order effective? Jenna opened a message. Midnight. Who signed it? Ruth Ellison. The guardianship file was uploaded at 5:18. After Caleb arrived. Yes. Daniel moved toward the door. The deputy blocked him. Sheriff, not sheriff anymore. The words chilled the room. Jenna rose. If they move Noah before the state verifies that file, we lose jurisdiction. No, we lose the child. Travis appeared in the hall. Visit's over. Daniel held out the photograph. Take this. Jenna took it. And the archive? I'll find another door. Travis let her pass, then locked Daniel in again. The room returned to its mechanical hum. Daniel sat with both hands flat on the cold table. For the first time in 24 years, he pictured Hannah alive. Then the overhead speaker crackled. A nurse's voice broke through. Security to pediatric discharge. The child is being removed now. The speaker died in static. Daniel struck the door with his palm. Travis! No answer came. At 5:42, Jenna reached the hospital stairwell with Daniel's photograph inside her folder. Below, a cartwheel squealed in circles. Mira met her at the landing. County security is here. Where's Noah? Room 214. I changed his chart to observation. For what? Caleb doesn't know enough medicine to ask. A man's voice crossed the corridor. Dr. Patel. Caleb stood behind a wheelchair. Noah sat beneath the blanket, his bare feet above the footplates. Jenna stepped between them. The guardianship order appeared after he was found. I'm requesting verification. You're no longer assigned, Caleb said. Who removed me? Your supervisor. She isn't answering. Noah saw the photograph under Jenna's folder. Is that his baby? Caleb's fingers tightened. Mira opened the patient room door. He stays until I sign. A security officer shifted but did not touch the chair. Jenna called the Federal Records Center. A recording rejected Kilo 719. She tried another extension. Archive liaison. I need the St. Agnes evacuation appendix, April 17, 2001. A child may be removed under a false identity. Keys clicked. That file is restricted. Who gave you the number? Daniel Mercer. The typing stopped. Wait. Caleb pushed the chair. Noah planted both feet on the floor. The footplates snapped upward. I'm not going. Your mother needs you to cooperate, Caleb said. You said she was home. She is. You said she was sick. Both can be true. Then call her. A nurse turned from the medication cart. The liaison returned. The appendix was transferred when the hospital closed. St. Agnes Parish Archive, Box 43-C. Give me the custodian. Jenna wrote the number on a discharge form, tearing the damp paper. She called. An elderly woman answered. St. Agnes Archive. I'm looking for Box 43-C. The pause lasted. I wondered when Daniel Mercer would find his way back, the woman said. Your name? Evelyn Price. I kept maternity records before the flood. Do you remember Hannah Mercer? A breath trembled through the receiver. I remember 2 names written for one child. Mira gripped the bed rail. They called the first entry a mistake, Evelyn continued. It wasn't. A man from the Whitmore family ordered us to replace it. Caleb stepped closer. End the call. The security officer remained still. Do you have the original ledger? Jenna asked. Yes, and a transfer sheet they forgot to destroy. Caleb reached for the phone. Mira pulled the wheelchair into room 214 and locked the door. Noah pressed his palm to the glass. Evelyn lowered her voice. Tell Daniel the baby lived. Jenna looked at the infant photograph, the crescent scar, the curled fist, Daniel's handwriting on the back. Can you bring the records? Somewhere public. I won't enter the county building. Why? Caleb Whitmore called me 10 minutes ago. The elevator chimed. Travis stepped out, carrying a new order in a plastic sleeve. Move the boy before midnight. Jenna covered the phone. Signed by whom? Travis raised the page. At the bottom was Ruth Ellison's name, and the ink was still wet. At 5:51 p.m., Jenna held the wet order under the corridor light. Ruth signed this? Travis kept his thumb over the margin. You can read. The timestamp says it was filed before she reached the county building. Caleb stepped closer. This delay ends now. Inside room 214, Noah stood against the glass. Mira waited by the locked door. Jenna looked at Daniel's infant photograph, then at the locket on Noah's neck. Open it, she said. Noah shook his head. Not the picture. The rim. Caleb's face changed before anyone moved. Mira saw it. She crouched. May I? Noah removed the chain and gave it to her. Mira turned it beneath the examination lamp. One side of the hinge sat slightly high. There's another seam. Travis reached for the handle. Enough. The security officer blocked him. Mira slid a sterile tongue depressor into the seam. A thin plate lifted with a dry click. Behind it lay a strip of paper rolled into the curve of the metal. Mom put that there, Noah whispered. Jenna entered when Mira opened the door. She carried the locket to the counter and eased the paper flat beneath a glass tray. Rain ticked against the narrow window. The writing was cramped. He will say I am sick. Check the blood. 18 Old Mill Road. Call Iris Beckett. Daniel's photograph slipped from Jenna's folder and landed beside the note. Noah pointed. That's Mom. No, Caleb said too quickly. The boy touched the crescent scar above the baby's eyebrow. She has it here. Travis read the name again. Beckett works outside the county. That may be why Hannah chose her, Mira said. Jenna called from the room phone. Sergeant Iris Beckett answered on the second ring. This is Beckett. My name is Jenna Reed. Hannah Cole hid your name in her son's locket. A pause. Where is Noah? Bellwether Regional. Keep him there. I found Hannah 40 minutes ago. Noah gripped the blanket. Can I talk to her? She's safe, Iris said, after Jenna relayed the question. But not on an open line. Caleb moved toward the phone. This is Commissioner Whitmore. Transfer her to county custody. Iris's voice sharpened. You're the reason she crossed the county line. Where did you find her? Jenna asked. At a motel near Mason Ridge. She used the laundry entrance because she thought Caleb's people were watching the lobby. That's absurd, Caleb said. She had no identification, no phone, and marks from being restrained. Noah stared at the floor. Iris continued. She says Caleb controlled her records, her bank account, and every contact Noah had outside the river house. She also says Hannah Cole is not her birth name. Travis touched his collar. What name? Jenna asked. Not by phone. I'm taking her statement to the state investigator. Bring her here. No, she asked for Daniel Mercer first. The elevator indicator changed floors. Jenna folded the note along its old crease. Why Daniel? Because she believes he is her father. Noah looked from the note to the photograph. Does that make him my grandpa? The elevator chimed. A state investigator stepped out carrying a sealed evidence case. Behind him walked an elderly woman clutching a hospital ledger to her chest. The elevator opened at 6:04 p.m. The man with the evidence case introduced himself as Marcus Lee, 44, a state investigator. He wore a rain-darkened jacket. Beside him, Evelyn Price held an old hospital ledger against her ribs. At 72, she was slight and silver-haired. Where is Daniel Mercer? Marcus asked. Locked in an interview room at the station, Jenna said. Marcus looked at Travis. For what crime? Travis touched his collar. Administrative hold. Caleb stepped forward. This is a family matter distorted by an unstable former employee. Evelyn turned toward him. Her knuckles whitened around the ledger. You have your father's voice, she said. Marcus set his case on a rolling table. Nobody leaves while I examine these records. You cannot detain a county commissioner without cause, Caleb said. I haven't detained you. Don't make the distinction disappear. Evelyn placed the ledger beneath the examination light. Dust lifted from its cover. She opened to April 17, 2001. 2 infant cards rested inside a transparent sleeve. Hannah Mercer. Hannah Whitmore. Jenna leaned closer. Both listed the same birth time, the same weight, and the same tiny inked footprint. Noah pressed his palm to the glass inside room 214. Evelyn pointed to the first card. Written before the evacuation. And the second? Marcus asked. After midnight. Caleb's father brought a hospital attorney and told us the Mercer baby had died during transfer. Daniel's faded photograph lay beside the sleeve. The crescent scar above the infant's eyebrow was faint, but the matching footprints needed no explanation. Caleb folded his arms. My father is dead. She is blaming a man who cannot answer. Evelyn's finger trembled. I am blaming myself first. Why keep it? Jenna asked. Because I signed the replacement card. Evelyn swallowed. I told myself the child would be safer with a wealthy family. Then Daniel returned every year asking for a body we never gave him. Travis lowered his eyes. Marcus took a folder from the case. Your office contacted the closed hospital archive in 2019, 2021, and 3 months ago, Caleb. Each message requested that Hannah Mercer remain classified as deceased. Routine privacy protection. For a dead infant? Marcus displayed the newest email on a tablet. If Hannah attempts to amend identity records, notify my office before processing. Inside the room, Noah asked, Is Mom in trouble? Mira crouched beside him. No, adults are finally answering questions. Marcus sealed the cards in separate evidence sleeves. I'm ordering preservation of every county file and an independent kinship test. Caleb reached for the ledger. Evelyn pulled it back. You took one name already, she said. You don't get the other. The stairwell door opened. Daniel entered without his badge, escorted by a state officer. His eyes found the infant cards before they found Noah. Evelyn faced him with the original record in both hands. Daniel, she said, your daughter did not die that night. Behind the glass, Noah lifted the silver locket. Daniel did not move toward him. He looked at Caleb and asked very quietly, Where is Hannah now? The consultation room clock read 6:19 p.m. when Iris Beckett entered with Hannah beside her. Hannah was 24, narrow-shouldered, wrapped in a borrowed gray cardigan. Damp hair clung to one cheek. She stopped when she saw Daniel. The air vent clicked. Beyond the wall, a monitor kept an electronic rhythm. Daniel gripped the back of a chair. Are you hurt? Hannah shook her head. Iris stayed by the door. She asked that everyone else wait outside. Jenna took Noah into the adjoining room. Through the glass, he could still see his mother. Caleb was escorted down the corridor. Travis followed without looking up. When the door shut, Hannah noticed the faded infant photograph on the table. You kept that? It was all I had. That isn't an answer. Daniel nodded. No. She sat, cardigan pulled over her knuckles. Why did you stop looking? I didn't. You signed papers. I signed a death certificate after 7 years because the court required it to close your mother's estate. You let them call me dead. I let a judge write it. I never believed it. Her mouth tightened. That sounds convenient now. Daniel removed a bundle of envelopes tied with blue ribbon. The first read, Hannah, age 1. The last, Hannah, age 24. I wrote on your birthday, he said. I had nowhere to send them. She did not touch the bundle. What do they say? The truth. Bad jokes. The weather. What I remembered. I was 8 months old. I remembered enough. Hannah pulled the top envelope free. Did you ever think I might be alive and angry? Every day. Then why didn't you find me? Daniel's fingers tightened until the chair creaked. The records were built to make me wrong. People I trusted said grief was turning me dangerous. After years of knocking on doors, I began believing every knock hurt someone who wasn't you. She looked through the glass. Noah had both palms against it. They did the same to me, she said. Whenever I asked about the scar, Caleb said I invented things. When I wanted school records, he said I was unstable. When Noah asked about his grandfather, he took my phone. Daniel sat across from her, leaving the letters between them. I should have broken more doors. No. You should have found the right one. Iris opened the door halfway. The lab can run an expedited kinship test. Results tonight. Hannah looked at Daniel. I don't need a test to know Caleb lied. No, but you may need one so nobody can make you prove yourself again. At 8:47 p.m., Marcus returned with sealed pages. The first line read, "Parent-child relationship, greater than 99.99%. Noah entered holding the silver locket. He stopped beside Hannah. "So he is?" he asked. Hannah stared at the report, then at Daniel. "Yes." Noah placed the locket on top of the unopened letters. Daniel did not reach for him. Hannah lifted the bundle, weighed it in both hands, and chose the envelope marked age 8. "I'll read one," she said. "Not all of them." "That's enough." She broke the seal. Inside, the first line was written in Daniel's older hand. "I hope someone remembered to leave a light on for you." Hannah pressed the paper flat. Then she moved the empty chair beside her out by 3 inches. At 9:12 p.m., Travis Boone sat beneath the hearing room lights with his uniform collar open. Behind him, recovered messages filled a screen. He rubbed the loose top button between 2 fingers, but could not push it through the hole. Marcus Lee placed a page on the table. "Read the highlighted line." Travis stared at it. Out loud. Nurses, deputies, and flood-weary residents filled the room. No one shifted. Travis swallowed. "Delete the camera copy before Mercer sees it." "Who sent that?" "Commissioner Whitmore." "And your reply?" "Understood." Caleb sat at the opposite table with counsel. His coat was gone. Without it, he looked smaller. "You were following emergency protocol, Deputy Boone." Travis faced him. "You said the promotion was mine if I kept Daniel out." A murmur crossed the chairs. Caleb's attorney rose. "Speculation." Marcus lifted another page. "Read the next message." Travis tried the button again. His fingers slipped. "Temporary sheriff appointment after the review," he read. "Handle the boy before midnight." Ruth Ellison sat in front, hands around her cane. She had signed Daniel's removal order. Now she stared down. "Did you know the guardianship file was created after Noah was found?" Marcus asked. "Yes." "Did Hannah consent?" "No." "Why proceed?" Travis looked toward Daniel. Daniel sat without his badge beside Hannah and Noah. The silver locket rested in Noah's palm. His face offered no argument. "I told myself Caleb had authority," Travis said. "Then I told myself the boy would be safe. By the time I knew neither was true, I was protecting what I'd done." Noah leaned into Hannah's arm. Marcus displayed the deleted footage log and the false timestamp on Ruth's order. The projector fan seemed louder. Caleb stood. "My family gave this county stability for 40 years. Daniel spoke for the first time. "A child is not stability." Caleb turned. "You think this makes you righteous?" "No." "Then what do you want?" Daniel slid a blank evidence form across the table. Every fact entered. Every name attached. No private agreement. Caleb's mouth closed. Marcus read the findings. Suspected identity fraud, unlawful confinement, interference with child welfare, destruction of evidence, and abuse of office. Caleb's authority was suspended pending charges. Travis was placed on unpaid leave and referred for prosecution. Ruth rose slowly. "Daniel, I should have called before I signed." He looked at the wet ink still visible on the copied order. "You should have called the doctor, or the social worker, or the child." Ruth lowered her head. Rainwater drummed against the courthouse gutters. A deputy sealed Caleb's access card in a clear bag. Caleb watched it close, like a door. Travis remained at the table. The top button still hung loose. Daniel passed him. "I'm sorry," Travis said. Daniel stopped without turning. "Put that in writing. Then tell the truth again when it costs you something." In the corridor, Hannah held sleeping Noah. Marcus approached with another folder. "This is not only one family," he said. We found 11 sealed child cases touched by the same office. Daniel looked through the glass doors at the flooded town. Then we open all 11. At 8:06 a.m., Daniel stood in the county records room with his fountain pen above a blank signature line. The chipped pen had filled out Hannah's missing child report 24 years earlier. Marcus placed 11 sealed folders on the table. These are only the files we found overnight. Reporters crowded beyond the glass. Inside, the air smelled of dust, toner, and bitter coffee. Ruth adjusted her cane. The board can reinstate you today. That can wait. Daniel, the files can't. Hannah sat near the window with Noah beside her. 3 opened birthday letters lay beside her. The rest remained tied with blue ribbon. Noah rolled the wooden star between his palms. Jenna opened a draft policy. Independent review for every disputed guardianship. No transfer without 2 verified signatures. And a recorded interview with the child, Mira added, away from anyone claiming custody. Ruth studied the cost estimate. Outside audits require a new budget. So did hiding the truth, Daniel said. At 9:20, the public session began. Flood-stained boots filled the back rows. A woman from the Eastern District stood first. My grandson's file was closed after one phone call. Will someone reopen it? Yes, Daniel said. Ruth leaned toward the microphone. Subject to legal review. Daniel looked at her. She lowered the page. Yes, it will be reopened. A deputy admitted he had once been told not to record a child's refusal to leave with a relative. His voice thinned on the final word. Jenna wrote his statement down. The rules formed line by line. State notice for unverifiable birth records. Preservation of footage. No single official allowed to alter identity documents. Outside counsel for minors. Protection for employees reporting interference. Hannah asked for the microphone. Caleb's old supporters watched her. My son was hidden in plain sight because every adult record said the same thing, she said. A child should be allowed to contradict a file. Noah left his chair and placed the wooden star beside Daniel's papers. It rested between the draft policy and 11 names. Daniel uncapped the pen. Before signing, he crossed out a sentence allowing the sheriff to approve emergency exceptions alone. Marcus noticed. That gives up your final authority. That is the point. Daniel wrote in its place. Independent authorization required. At noon, the board passed the measures unanimously. At first, only pens scratched, cameras clicked, and the vents hummed. Then, the woman from the Eastern District began to clap once, slowly. Others joined. Daniel remained seated. He signed the final page with the same pen that had once recorded Hannah as missing. Outside, workers removed Caleb Whitmore's name from the administration office. The metal letters left cleaner shapes on the brick. Hannah stopped beside Daniel on the courthouse steps. I want to help families who lost their records. You don't owe this county anything. I'm not doing it for the county. Noah took her hand, then reached for Daniel's without looking up. Across the street, lights came on in a vacant storefront that would become the Family Records Center. In its front window, someone had placed 11 empty folders, waiting to be opened. 6 months later, at 7:18 a.m., Noah stood at the end of a school hallway with one hand locked around his backpack strap. The corridor smelled of floor wax and toast. Lockers slammed. Shoes squeaked. Mrs. Clara Finch, 36, a first-grade teacher with silver hoops and a habit of smoothing every paper corner, crouched beside him. Your mother is right outside, she said. Noah looked through the glass doors. Hannah stood beneath the awning, holding an umbrella she had forgotten to open. Daniel waited several feet away, hands in his coat pockets. "Will he be there after school?" "He said he would." Noah nodded and entered the classroom. Hannah did not wave until he chose a desk. At noon, the Family Records Center opened across from the courthouse. Jenna ran intake. Mira trained staff to interview children without claimed guardians in the room. Linda framed the first independent audit report. 11 reopened cases, and 4 families reunited through corrected records. Ruth Ellison attended quietly. She had resigned as board chair and now served on the oversight panel without voting power. Travis Boone had pleaded guilty to evidence interference, lost his position, and begun court-ordered ethics training. Caleb Whitmore awaited trial under monitored release. His name was gone from every county office, though pale outlines of the letters remained on the brick. A reporter asked Daniel whether the reforms were his victory. He looked through the center's window. Hannah was helping an older man compare 2 birth records while Noah colored a wooden star at the children's table. "No," Daniel said. "It's a correction." That evening, rain tapped against Hannah's kitchen windows. She set 3 plates on the table, then stopped. The 4th remained in the cabinet. Daniel stood in the doorway with a pot of soup and did not enter. "I can leave this here," he said. Noah placed the silver locket beside the wooden star, climbed onto a chair, and reached for another plate. Hannah watched him. He set it at the empty place and pushed it forward with both hands. "You can sit," he said. "But Mom picks the music." Daniel removed his coat. The warm room fogged his glasses. He folded the coat over a chair instead of taking the hook by the door. During dinner, Noah described his first week at school. Clara had let him keep his old last name on his folder until he decided what came next. "What will you choose?" Daniel asked. Noah moved a carrot around his bowl. "I don't know yet." "That's allowed." Hannah opened the letter marked Age 9. She read silently, one thumb rubbing the blue ribbon around the remaining bundle. "You wrote that you painted my room yellow." "I did." "I hate yellow." Daniel lowered his spoon. "Then I'm glad you missed it." A laugh escaped her. She covered her mouth. Noah grinned into his bowl. Later, Hannah carried the plates to the sink. Daniel reached for the 4th. "Leave it," she said. He froze. "I mean, leave it there. For next time." Outside, the rain had stopped. Water slipped from the gutter in slow drops. Noah fastened the locket around the wooden star and hung them together on the hook beside Daniel's coat. For the first time, neither one was being used to find the way home. If this story reminded you of a time when someone's dignity was ignored, share what happened in the comments. Your experience may help another person recognize when silence protects the wrong people. Share this story with someone who believes justice is not only about punishment, but about restoring names, choices, and trust. Subscribe for more stories about fairness, quiet resilience, families finding their way back to one another, and ordinary people creating lasting change inside broken systems. And consider this: if a child, neighbor, co-worker, or stranger told you that the official record was wrong, would you defend the paperwork? Or pause long enough to listen? Sometimes the first step toward justice is simply refusing to look away.